This is a Bionicle Rakshi. The 6 variations of it are one of the most iconic lines of Bionicle villains ever. With their serpent heads, iconic spines, and staffs, the sons of Makuta weren't messing around. But for me, the coolest things about these sets when they came out was that they had posable knees. What a breakthrough that was. But there's been a number of other breakthroughs in building since these sets were released. So today, let's redesign our Rakshi into what I imagined as a kid, starting with the head. To start the head, I want to use these 2 Technic panels. Let's attach them with a slight angle. To do that, we can add a half pin, and then use a burnt hot dog to get the angle that we need. A droid arm can give us a connection point to use later on. Then, for the eyes, I'll connect some robot hands, and then these red spikes can complete the eyes. I want the mouth to have a ton of teeth, so let's start with some clips and silver barbs. Then I'll build up a structure with some plates and a slope. Next, I'll attach a T-bar and some droid arms to give us another usable connection for later. Now the top of the head can clip into place. And we can continue to build the upper jaw with some Technic lift arms, axles, and connectors. Then, I'll add in a robot arm and some more robot hands, which we can connect a bunch more teeth to. I'll mirror that onto the other side, and add some wing parts to hide the mess underneath. Finally, I'll add in a socket and a friction extender, and then we can turn our attention to the lower jaw. I'll start it off with this tan armor part, which we can add some pins to. Then, let's build up a toothy grin with some more robot arms and spikes. I'll attach those assemblies together with a T-bar, and we can clip it into the tan armor bit. Then, let's connect this pneumatic fitting, some more droid arms, and a T-bar so that this can connect into the rest of our head. With that in place, let's add in a tongue. I still want us to have some more teeth here, so we can use another Technic panel to hold some more. I'll add in a ball joint, which we can use later on to connect it in. And with that, the head is done, and we can move on to building up some arms. Let's keep things simple and use a Hero Factory bone with a large shell and a shoulder armor add-on. Then, for the forearm, I want to use this Paraka leg part. To connect that to our socket, let's add in some Technic connectors, and then pin it in place. Then, I'll add an additional piece of armor with this spiky silver bit. Finally, I can add a large spike part to detail the inside of the forearm. I'll build up some hands with these robot arms, clips, and some spikes. We can do a similar thing for the thumb, but attach it in with a minifigure tap part. With that done, let's assemble our arm and move on to the most signature part of our Rakshi, the spine. Here, I'll use a pair of flex tubes so that I can control the curvature of the spine by tensioning them relative to one another. Then, all that's left to do is to thread some shells and spikes on. I think that gives us a spine worthy of our Rakshi. Next, we'll move on to the torso, but first, let's build up a CW21 to accompany our build, starting by building the propeller, then the fuselage, and the cockpit. Afterwards, I'll add some wings, so this plane can fly. If you want to fly this plane, you can pilot it and more than 2,000 other planes, tanks, helicopters, and ships in dynamic combined arms PvP battles in War Thunder, the sponsor of this video. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made. Every vehicle is incredibly detailed and offers a highly immersive combat experience. Not only that, but vehicles in War Thunder are modeled down to their individual components, like propellers, jets, and even landing gear. So to match that here, we can build up some custom landing gear for our plane, with these Technic gears, inkwells, and plates. But for my money, the coolest thing about War Thunder is the dynamic vehicle damage system, where instead of using hit point, vehicles in War Thunder suffer actual damage to their components and crew instead, making for a way more immersive experience. The collection of vehicles in War Thunder cover over 100 years of technological development. Join a worldwide community of over 70 million players in epic PvP battles today, and delve into the breathtaking experience that is War Thunder. With an unmatched wealth of high-quality content to discover, there's simply no better game suited for fans of military history. Play War Thunder now for free on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation by clicking the link in my description or the pinned comment. By using that link for a limited time only, new players and returning ones that haven't played in the last 6 months get a massive bonus pack available across all platforms with multiple premium vehicles and with an exclusive vehicle decorator, Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account. For the torso, I'll start things off with this Hero Factory part, which I'll add some more bones to in order to flesh out the shape of this son of a Makuta. We can then use this skeleton to attach in our spine with a ball joint and a number of clips. The gear aesthetic is one of the most iconic parts of the original Bionicles, so let's use these large gears here as a throwback. We can cover them up with these large dish parts. Next, let's friction weld a rod into the gear to attach the dish and a ball joint for the shoulder. I want to connect the shoulders in here, so we need to figure out a way to do that. Let's start with this socket and add a friction extender. Then, let's add some plates and bracket parts. And while we're at it, I'll construct this little ball joint assembly we can use to attach the extra teeth parts later on. Let's snap that in and attach the shoulder assembly. We can fix the two together with some Technic lift arms. And after, we can start detailing the torso with these large spikes and some assemblies of Technic parts, which we can attach in here. For the bulk of the torso, I'll begin with this Bionicle gearbox, which we can add some pin axles and ball-on beams to. Then, let's snap in some decorative bones and sockets. We can cap that off with another spike part. And then I'll attach a ball joint so that we can clip this large Hero Factory shell part. Then we can build up a little ratchet joint assembly for some more biomechanical details. To the back of the assembly, I'll add some pins, then a couple of lift arms, and even more pins, to which our panel can attach. Finally, a few more Technic connectors can allow us to attach in these large tail parts. And with that, we can connect this into the spine to complete our torso. Then, we can move on to building up a reimagining of the iconic Rakshi staff. I'll start off with these snowshoe parts, which I want to add this energy effect to. I'll build up a little Technic assembly to clip the part in place, and we can attach it into the staff. Then, let's build up the bulk of the staff with some large axles and connect the other end of the weapon. Now, we can move on to designing the legs. Let's start things off with the iconic Rakshi feet, to which we can add a socket and a friction extender. To spruce things up, I really want to add in some custom claws to them. We can build up some connection points with some Technic bits and a stopper axle. Let's attach the claw in, then mirror this assembly onto the other side. For the middle claw, we can build up an assembly with a connector, axle, rubber lift arm for friction, and then some more lift arms. This can fit into place on our foot, but we need to compress the rubber bit to lock it in place with this Technic beam. The rubber here helps give us a little more friction when the mock is standing. Up next, we can build the upper legs up, starting things off with a friction add-on and a socket. Then some pins can allow for this large beam to attach in. To it, I'll attach a number of connectors. A few more pins connected into the back can allow for it all to lock together with another beam. Next, we can attach in a Piraka shin part. Here, we can use the ankle joint to clip in a large shell. Next, let's double up some sockets for a knee joint. I'll use these pin axles and some more connectors to attach it into the rest of our assembly with a pair of axles. The sides of the leg we can detail with a system assembly of plates, tiles, and curved slopes, and we can attach them in with an axle through the original socket part. The knee joint can be built up with a Technic cam, some axles, and ball joints, before we cap it off with the second cam. Finally, I want to keep the shin visually consistent with the forearm, so we can start it off with a Piraka shin, and then add the same silver spiky bit to this socket part. For the structure of the shin, let's start with 2 sockets for the knee. To that, we can add a cam, axle, lift arm, and lightsaber rod. Then, I'll add a few more connectors and cap things off with some more Technic. Next, let's spin it around to attach a bit more Technic. To this, we can connect our original shin detail. To more securely attach it, I'll use this pneumatic T, a snop rick, and then some half pins into this lift arm. I'll bend the shin out of the way and add this connective structure to lock it all together. We can finish things off in the form of a spike and some dishes. Then let's connect the leg together. For a little more strength, we can build up this piston assembly with a stopper axle and some connectors. This serves to strengthen the knee joint, but still allows for mobility in it. Now let's assemble our Rakshi together, starting with the head and the extra teeth. Then let's connect in the legs. After, the arms can be clipped in. Finally, I'll give him his staff to hold, and we can move on to the beauty shots. But first, once again, huge thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. This is my first sponsored video, so I really appreciate them making videos like this possible. Go check them out, and remember that when you use my link, new players and returning ones that haven't played in at least 6 months get a massive bonus pack, available across all platforms, with multiple premium vehicles and an exclusive vehicle decorator. Thanks to all the amazing people supporting me over on Patreon. And special shout out to my newest patron, Knox Harris. You are the building blocks that make this channel possible. If you like this video, YouTube thinks you'll enjoy this one too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. But until then, happy building.